We are on the Ohio River, down by Powhatan Point. Again, a little town on the Ohio River. George Washington once camped here. And what we're going to do is take a little trip up Captina Creek. Here it is. Now we are in the end of winter. This is 1st of April. It's Easter weekend, and the fishing people are not out, and there's nobody really out because it's been cold. But this is a perfect time to take a tour up Captina Creek. So we're going to go from Powhatan Point all the way to Barnesville. And I'm just going to show you some pictures. Along the way, you've got the sycamore trees. The beautiful sycamore trees love the water. So let's take a little trip from Powhatan Point to Barnesville. We're going to be looking at some barns, old barns and bridges, railroad tracks, and again the old sycamore trees. They love to grow on the banks of water. Big creeks like this, even little streams and little creeks. You'll see lots of sycamore trees in Ohio. The old barns. Really is a nice trip, a Sunday trip to take the family. If you're coming from northeast Ohio by Youngstown and Steubenville, you take 7 down, 7 past Bel Air, past Shadyside, take it down to Powhatan Point, and then I believe it's 148. Along the way, before you get to Barnesville, you'll pass little towns like Steinersville. You'll pass a few little towns. Really beautiful scenery, even in the wintertime. Now, I grant you, it's going to be a lot prettier in the summertime. The summertime will be a lot nicer trip. And of course, it'll be a lot warmer in the summertime, nice and warm. But even in the wintertime, you got to get out and about, take those Sunday drives. Now, they have a lot of natural gas stuff going on in the Ohio Valley. On all the ridges, every ridge in the Ohio Valley, you got natural gas companies up from Texas doing their business. But here we have it, Captina Creek. Now this drains into the Ohio River. Very beautiful country. Still a lot of farming going on. I mean, not as much farming as in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. The small farms are dying, and plus the farms, they made a fortune. If you had a 100-acre farm, the natural gas people paid you $1 million for your gas. So they really don't have to do much farming anymore. But there's still a few holdouts. There's some people doing some farming. Beautiful country, that's for sure. Now in the summertime, there's places where you can bring your trailer, your motor home or your travel trailer, and you can park by the creek for the week or maybe a month or how much time you have. Very beautiful, very beautiful. Now, I don't know if I said it before, there's been a lot of rain in the Ohio Valley lately, so the creek is up. It's a little muddy, it's not so clear. It's cloudy because there's been a lot of rain in the last week, and it gets the water all cloudy. Another sycamore tree. Now the railroad track runs right close to Captina Creek. Basically, the railroad track runs right along it for the most part. Here's an old bridge. And the closer we get to Barnesville, you'll see coal companies. Many little streams run into Captina. And like I said, this creek ends up at the Ohio River. Here's another beautiful little antique bridge. Ohio used to be full of these bridges. I mean, every town you came to, there'd be a half a dozen of these type of bridges. But there's not as many around as there used to be, that's for sure. The modern world is catching up with the old bridges. But Donald Trump wants to get them fixed if he can find the money. Good luck with that. Or actually, all they have to do is push a button, don't they? I'm sorry. They just push a button. They can fix all the bridges. Just push a button. Now here's a shot of the railroad track and an old barn. Now the train still, the coal rail cars, the train still runs up and down this track. Later on, I'll show you a picture of the coal cars, the rail cars holding coal and an old train. Or not an old train, it's still a new train. Here's the old barns. Now, I hate to say it, but about a month ago, it was either end of February or sometime in March, they had a natural gas explosion at one of the drilling sites. The natural gas, I don't know how big of an explosion it was, but they couldn't cap it, and the flame was coming out of the rig, and it was big headlines in the Ohio Valley, and they finally got it capped off, but they had to evacuate everybody from within a mile range away from the natural gas drilling site or the pumping site. Within a mile radius, they had to evacuate everybody, and then there was a whole lot of natural gas being thrown up into the air at about 15,000 psi. I think there's a video on YouTube of the explosion or the leak. Again, here's that's the railroad bridge, one of the old ones. Beautiful country. They even have along the way, they have a golf course. It's a driving range. It's called the Horseshoe Bend 18-hole championship course driving range. There was nobody out there again when I went by. It was on a Easter weekend. It was cold, chilly. Had just been a lot of rain and not a good time to be golfing, but it's a beautiful course. Probably packed in the summertime. Not very many golf courses on the eastern Ohio River area that I know of. I know there's one in Ogilvie, and I've been out of the region for a while, but I don't think there's too many golf courses on the Ohio River. This is another town you go through on your way to Barnesville. That's where we end up on this day's trip. We're going from Powhatan Point to Barnesville, and Armstrong Mills is one of those towns along the way. Here's an old barn, an old building, and in the town of Armstrong Mills. It's right there close to that golf course too. Now, the road I was on, I believe, was 148. And here, oh, here's another an old farmhouse on the creek. This old tree must be 200 years old, huh? Like I said, you know you're getting close to Barnesville when you see the coal companies, coal equipment. This looks like an old conveyor belt that would put the coal into the trucks. So this is a coal company. We're probably about 7-8 miles outside of Barnesville. There we go. Yeah, this is the American Energy Corporation. They're still doing a lot of mining in West Virginia, Ohio. Well, thanks for coming along on this beautiful trip.